Hello everyone and welcome. It's great to have you with us for a look at what's been happening in the world. The news can sometimes feel like a giant, fast-moving puzzle with a million different pieces. It can be overwhelming to try and keep up with everything all at once. That's why taking a moment each week to pause and look at the biggest stories can be so helpful. It gives us a chance to understand the major events that are shaping our lives, our communities, and our planet. By breaking it down, we can see the connections between different stories and get a clearer picture of the world around us. Staying informed isn't just about knowing facts, it's about being an engaged citizen. Think of a weekly news roundup as a highlight reel. It doesn't show you every single play of the game, but it makes sure you see the most important moments, the ones that change the score. We'll explore stories from different areas, like politics, technology, and the global economy. Understanding these topics helps us make better decisions in our own lives. It helps us understand the viewpoints of others, even if we don't agree with them. Being informed empowers us to ask questions, to think critically, and to participate in conversations about the future. It's a skill that helps you in school, at work, and in your community every single day. Our goal today is to make these complex stories easy to understand. We'll cut through the jargon and the noise to get to the heart of what's going on. We will look at information from a variety of sources to get a balanced view. You'll hear about reports from established news organizations like the Wall Street Journal and CNN, as well as insights from political outlets like Politico. We'll also see what people are saying on social media platforms like X and Truth Social, because those have become important places for public discussion. By looking at all these different places, we can get a more complete understanding of the issues. So let's get ready to dive in. We have a lot of ground to cover, from economic shifts that could affect your wallet to political debates that will shape the country's future. We'll also look at some amazing scientific breakthroughs and what they could mean for all of us. Remember, the goal isn't to become an expert on everything overnight. The goal is to learn a little bit more than we knew yesterday. It's about building our knowledge one story at a time. So, grab a seat and let's get started on our journey through this week's news. First up, we're talking about the economy, a topic that affects everyone. This week there's been a lot of talk about economic jitters. That's a simple way of saying that investors and financial experts are feeling a bit nervous. The Wall Street Journal published a major report on Wednesday, highlighting concerns about rising inflation in several key European and Asian economies. Inflation is when the price of goods and services goes up, which means your money doesn't buy as much as it used to. When this happens in other major countries, it can have a ripple effect on the United States, making imported goods more expensive and creating uncertainty for global businesses. So, why does this matter to you? Well, think about the things you buy every day, from your phone to your clothes to your food. Many of these products, or the parts used to make them, come from other countries. If it costs more for companies in those countries to make and ship things, they often pass those costs on to consumers like us. CNN's economic analysts have been explaining that this global uncertainty could lead the United States Federal Reserve to be more cautious. The Federal Reserve is America's central bank, and it has the power to raise or lower interest rates to help control the economy. Their decisions can affect everything from car loans to mortgage rates. The conversation isn't just happening in traditional newsrooms. On the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, economists and financial bloggers have been debating the severity of the situation. Some argue that this is a temporary bump in the road, a natural adjustment after years of unusual economic activity. Others are more concerned, pointing to specific data on manufacturing output and consumer spending as signs of a potential slowdown. This wide range of opinions shows just how complex the global economy is. There's rarely one simple answer, and experts often disagree on what the future holds for all of us. Ultimately, this story is a reminder of how connected our world is. An economic decision made in a country thousands of miles away can eventually impact the prices at your local grocery store. It's a big, complicated system, but understanding the basics of things like inflation and global trade helps us see the bigger picture. It helps us understand why leaders are making certain decisions and what those decisions might mean for our families and our futures. Keeping an eye on these trends is an important part of being an informed citizen in a globalized world. Now let's turn our attention to Washington, D.C., where lawmakers are in the middle of a heated debate. The topic is a new infrastructure bill. Infrastructure refers to the basic physical systems of a country, like roads, bridges, power grids, and internet access. According to Politico, which covers the ins and outs of American politics, the proposed bill is massive. It aims to pour billions of dollars into repairing aging bridges, expanding high-speed internet to rural areas, and investing in green energy projects like solar and wind farms. Proponents of the bill say these investments are long overdue and will create millions of jobs for American workers. However, the bill is facing some strong opposition. The main point of contention is its cost. Many lawmakers are concerned about the enormous price tag and how the government plans to pay for it all. Some are worried that it will lead to higher taxes or add to the national debt. On his X account, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio posted this week that while he supports improving infrastructure, he believes the current bill is loaded with wasteful spending on projects that have nothing to do with our core needs. This sentiment is shared by many of his colleagues who are pushing for a smaller, more focused bill. This debate highlights a fundamental disagreement in politics about the role of government. On one side, you have those who believe the government should take a leading and active role in investing in the country's future, even if it means spending a lot of money up front. They argue that these investments will pay for themselves in the long run through economic growth and improved quality of life. On the other side, you have those who advocate for a more limited role for the government. They prioritize fiscal responsibility and argue that the private sector is often more efficient at handling such large-scale projects. As the debate continues, a lot of negotiation and compromise will be needed. CNN reported that party leaders are meeting behind closed doors, trying to find some common ground. The outcome of this debate is incredibly important. It will determine the future of America's roads you drive on, the reliability of your electricity, and the speed of your internet connection for decades to come. It's a classic Washington story of big ideas, big money, and big disagreements, and we'll be watching closely to see how it all unfolds in the coming weeks. Let's shift gears and talk about technology, specifically one of the biggest names in the industry, Meta. Meta is the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. This week, the company has been under a microscope, facing scrutiny from both government regulators and the public. The Wall Street Journal reported that a bipartisan group of senators is calling for new regulations on how social media companies use algorithms to recommend content. An algorithm is a complex set of computer rules that determines what you see in your newsfeed. Lawmakers are concerned these algorithms can sometimes push users toward harmful or extreme content. The core of the issue is about responsibility and safety in the digital world. Critics argue that Meta's platforms have not done enough to protect younger users from content related to bullying, body image issues, and dangerous trends. They believe the company's algorithms are designed primarily to keep users engaged for as long as possible in order to show them more ads, without enough consideration for their well-being. Meta has responded by saying it has invested billions of dollars in safety and security and has thousands of people working to moderate content. The company insists it is constantly updating its tools to protect users. This isn't just a debate happening in the halls of Congress. It's a conversation happening in homes and schools across the country. Parents and educators are increasingly worried about the impact of social media on young people's mental health. On X, many child advocacy groups have been sharing resources and calling for stronger platform accountability. The discussion revolves around finding the right balance. How can we preserve the benefits of social media, like connecting with friends and family, while minimizing the potential harms? It's a question that society is still trying to answer. This story matters because Meta's platforms are used by billions of people worldwide. The decisions the company makes and the regulations the government might impose will have a huge impact on how we communicate and consume information online. It raises fundamental questions about free speech, corporate responsibility, and the power of technology in our modern lives. As our world becomes more and more digital, the rules for our digital spaces are still being written, and this ongoing scrutiny of Meta is a major chapter in that story. Now let's zoom out and look at an important international story that has been developing this week. We're heading to the South China Sea, a vital waterway in Southeast Asia. Tensions have been rising in this region for a while, and recent events have brought the situation back into the global spotlight. According to reports from CNN International, there was a tense encounter between Chinese and Philippine naval vessels near a disputed shoal. By the way, a shoal is a shallow area of water. Both countries claim ownership of this territory, and honestly, these kinds of standoffs have become more frequent and more aggressive. So why is this small area of the ocean so important? Well, the South China Sea is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. A huge amount of global trade, including oil and other essential goods, passes through these waters every single day. Any disruption here could have a major impact on the global economy. Furthermore, the region is believed to be rich in natural resources like oil and natural gas. Several countries in the area, including China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei, have overlapping claims to various islands and reefs, which, as you can imagine, makes it a complex and contentious issue. The United States is not a claimant to any of the territory, but it has a strong interest in the region. U.S. officials have repeatedly stated their commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation, which means they believe all countries should be able to sail and fly through the area freely, according to international law. Politico reported that the U.S. State Department issued a statement this week reaffirming its defense treaty with the Philippines and calling for a peaceful resolution to the disputes. This shows how a regional conflict can quickly draw in major world powers. This story is a powerful example of geopolitics in action. Geopolitics is the study of how geography and economics influence politics and the relations between countries. The situation in the South China Sea involves history, national pride, economic interests, and military strategy. It's a delicate situation where a miscalculation by any side could lead to a more serious conflict. For now, the world is watching and hoping that diplomacy and calm heads will prevail in this critically important part of the world. From geopolitics to scientific breakthroughs, our next story is one that could change the future of healthcare. This week, researchers announced a major advancement in the use of artificial intelligence, or AI, in medicine. A study published in a prestigious science journal detailed a new AI system that can analyze medical scans, like X-rays and MRIs, with incredible speed and accuracy. According to the report, the AI was able to detect early signs of certain types of cancer and other diseases, in some cases even more accurately than human radiologists who reviewed the same scans. This is a huge deal because early detection is often the key to successfully treating many diseases. Imagine a future where a routine scan could be analyzed by an AI in seconds, flagging potential issues for a doctor to review immediately. This could dramatically reduce waiting times for results and allow treatments to begin much sooner. The researchers emphasize that the goal is not to replace doctors, but to provide them with a powerful new tool. The AI would act as a highly skilled assistant, helping medical professionals to be more efficient and effective in their work. Of course, with any powerful new technology, there are important questions and challenges to consider. One of the biggest concerns is data privacy. Medical records are extremely sensitive, and developing these AI systems requires access to vast amounts of patient data. Experts are working on ways to ensure this data is anonymized and protected so that patient privacy is never compromised. There are also questions about fairness and bias. If an AI is trained primarily on data from one demographic group, it might not be as accurate for people from other backgrounds. Ensuring these tools work for everyone is a top priority. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits are immense. This story, highlighted by tech and science reporters across various news outlets, shows us a hopeful glimpse of the future. It's a reminder that technology can be a powerful force for good, with the potential to save lives and improve the health and well-being of people all over the world. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now in labs and research centers, and it could one day be a standard part of the medical care you and your family receive. In our modern world, some of the biggest news stories unfold not just on TV or in newspapers, but on social media. This week, the digital town square was buzzing with conversation, especially on platforms like Truth Social and X. A major topic of discussion was the ongoing debate about the economy, which we touched on earlier. On Truth Social, former President Donald Trump posted several times, criticizing the current administration's economic policies. He claimed that his policies had created a stronger economy and that a change in leadership was needed to bring back prosperity for American families. These posts generated a massive amount of engagement, with his supporters sharing the messages widely and adding their own comments. This highlights how social media has become a direct line of communication between political figures and the public. Leaders can now bypass traditional media outlets to get their message out instantly to millions of followers. On the other side of the political spectrum, Prominent progressive voices on X were defending the administration's actions, pointing to job growth numbers and investments in new industries as signs of success. They argued that the global economic challenges were not caused by domestic policy. The result is a highly polarized and often passionate debate playing out in real time. You can scroll through your feed and see two completely different interpretations of the exact same set of facts. This is a key feature of the modern information landscape. It's why media literacy, the ability to critically evaluate and analyze information from different sources, is more important than ever. Understanding who is saying something and why they might be saying it is a crucial skill for navigating the news today. This social media buzz matters because it reflects and shapes public opinion. The conversations happening online can influence how people feel about issues, who they vote for, and what they demand from their leaders. It's a dynamic and sometimes messy part of our democracy. Whether it's a post from a former president, a senator, a celebrity, or a regular citizen, the digital world has given everyone a platform. Understanding how to listen to and interpret this vast and varied conversation is essential to understanding the world in 2025. For our final story this week, we're focusing on some positive news for our planet. A major environmental story that gained traction involves a large-scale reforestation initiative in the Amazon rainforest. A coalition of South American governments working with international environmental groups and indigenous communities announced a new phase of their ambitious project. According to a CNN report, the goal is to plant tens of millions of trees over the next 5 years in areas that have been damaged by deforestation. Deforestation is the clearing of forest for other uses like farming or mining. This is incredibly important because the Amazon rainforest is often called the lungs of the planet. Its vast number of trees and plants produce a significant amount of the world's oxygen and absorb huge amounts of carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. Protecting and restoring the Amazon is crucial for maintaining a stable global climate. This new initiative is being praised for its collaborative approach, bringing together different groups that have not always seen eye to eye in the past. The project recognizes the vital role that indigenous communities, who have lived in and protected the forest for centuries, play in its preservation. The project is not without its challenges, of course. The scale of deforestation has been immense, and replanting a forest is a slow and difficult process. It requires not just planting seedlings, but also protecting them as they grow and ensuring the restored areas can support a diverse ecosystem of plants and animals. Funding is also a constant concern. The Wall Street Journal noted that while the initial funding is in place, organizers are actively seeking long-term commitments from international partners and corporations to ensure the project's success for years to come. Despite the hurdles, this story offers a powerful message of hope and action. It shows that when people, governments, and organizations work together, they can begin to tackle even the biggest environmental challenges. It's a reminder that while the news is often full of problems, it's also full of stories about people working on solutions. This reforestation effort in the Amazon is a testament to human resilience and a commitment to protecting our shared planet for future generations. It's a positive note to end on, showing progress in a fight that matters to every single one of us. And that brings us to the end of our weekly roundup. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the global economy and political debates in Washington to technological breakthroughs and environmental efforts. We've seen how interconnected our world is, where an event in the South China Sea can be linked to the products we buy, and a debate on social media can reflect the mood of the entire country. The world is a complex place, and the news can sometimes feel like a lot to take in, but by taking it one story at a time, we can start to see the bigger picture. The goal of looking at the news isn't to have all the answers. In fact, it's often about learning to ask better questions. Why is this happening? Who does this affect? What are the different points of view? Staying informed is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of learning, questioning, and thinking for yourself. We've looked at information from many sources today: the Wall Street Journal, CNN, Politico, and social media posts from figures like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, to get a wider perspective. Continuing to seek out diverse sources is one of the best things you can do. I want to encourage you to keep learning. Talk about these stories with your friends, your family, or your teachers. Hearing what other people think can help you understand the issues on a deeper level and might even challenge your own perspective. Read an article from a source you don't normally look at. Follow a discussion online and try to understand all sides of the argument. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to navigate the news and feel confident in your understanding of the world. You are the future, and being informed is one of the most powerful tools you have. Thank you for joining us today. It's been awesome getting to break down these big stories with you. Remember, knowledge is power, and staying engaged is how we all play a part in shaping our world for the better. We hope you learned something new and feel a little more connected to the events happening all around us. We'll be back to do it all again soon. Until then, keep learning and stay awesome. For CNN 10, I'm Carl Azuz. Catch you next time.